Hello again, whiskey friends. It's Kelsey back here in the Whiskey Riffs Lounge coming to you live. We're going to do a review of a whiskey that maybe not many of you know about. If you're not in the Midwest, Wisconsin, Illinois, Michigan area, Ohio, you may not have heard of them. Today we're going to be reviewing J. Henry's LE 2022 and giving that a review. And man, I'm excited because I've been drinking this for a little while. Hadn't had a chance to review it yet, so I scored it, and now we're going to break it down today. So look forward to hanging out with you. Let's get those stoves started. Hey, welcome back, guys. We're doing a segment where I'm going to be doing probably every week, where we try to introduce some sort of craft whiskey or whiskey that may not be as well known, that is providing some spectacular whiskey experiences for you. And hopefully you can get your hands on some of them. Some you may not know, but at least you'll be aware of the company to keep an eye out for them. This is one that has been around for a while. I got their LE last year. The 2021 release was the first one I tasted. This is the second one that I've had, the 2022 J. Henry and Sons LE. It's 120.8 cask strength, small batch. They are in Wisconsin doing all of their own whiskey. Nancy the Nose Fraley, shout out to her. She's doing all the blending for J. Henry on these and does an incredible job. If you don't know who Nancy Fraley is, she is also the same blender that's doing Wyoming whiskey. She's doing Joseph Magnus cigar blends. She's doing Still Austin. She's got her hands in a lot of amazing whiskeys, and she's a freaking genius when it comes to blending that. Nancy is basically a contract taster blender. Forgive me, Nancy, if you've got an exact title, but just a fantastic music lover and whiskey lover. Great person. We hope to have her on the show soon. We've talked to her a few times on different channels. So shout out to J. Henry for making sure he's partnering with people that know what they're doing when it comes to blending whiskey. So without further ado, I got my little Bourbon Wrench shirt, hat, and Glenn today. Shout out to Trev. Cheers to you, buddy. We're going to be doing a review of J. Henry's LE 2022. Let's get into the nose and break it down. So one of the things that hit me on this at first smell is the brown sugar, like deep, dark brown sugars. And then as I pulled away from the glass just a little bit, I get this real strong sense of like chocolate covered espresso beans. And it's only if I pull it away a little bit from my nose do I get that note. But it's really, really, really beautiful. It's wave in the background. It's not something that's like slap you in the face. Now the brown sugar is slap you in the face. And then I get all of those beautiful sweet oak notes and vanilla. And for it being 120.8, it doesn't have a lot of ethanol on the nose. It's just really well balanced, which I would expect from Nancy and J. Henry. Last year's was the same way. This one's a little bit more amped up on the sweetness, and again, that chocolate espresso note to me is bouncing out. Yeah, it's like a dark chocolate espresso. It's beautiful. I love it. And if you are a coffee lover and you like those notes, this is your jam. Trust me. Very complex. I could probably sit here for a long time and pick apart this nose and just get something different every time. But it's fabulous. There's a little bit of fruit notes coming through on after smelling it on one side of my nose. Just really complex nose. I will say this. Like I said, I won't bore you guys with all of you watching me sitting here smelling, but it's freaking fantastic, to say the least. Let's go in for a sip and hit the front of the palate. So this is another indication of a great blender. the nose follows the palate, or the palate follows the nose. You get all of those brown, rich brown sugars up front, sweet, right at the very beginning. And as it moves into the mid palate, it transitions into more of that oak. Let's go ahead and go in for a second sip and see how consistent that front of the palate is there. Yeah. So it's the first sip is pretty intense with sweetness and also with flavor. I would expect it to be at 120.8. It drinks all of that as far as the proof point goes, which for me, I love. Um, then to break down the middle of the palate, you're getting a transition more into the oak and the spice. Yeah. So in the middle of the palate, you get all the viscosity of this thing. I mean, it is oily as all get out. It's just clinging to the glass. So the same thing happens on the inside of your mouth on the mid palate. It just envelops that middle of your palate with all of those notes, with oak, um, with sweet brown sugars, with the spice coming through in the mid palate, and then I mean it just stays. I'm still tasting the finish. The finish is long and flavorful on this. This is a flavor punch. Like I said, Nancy and these guys, no joke on this thing, man. It is absolutely stunning and well balanced. There's not one thing that just kind of punches you and that's all you taste. It's a roller coaster, so to speak. It kind of has its ups and downs, but it's always giving you a ride along the whole way. You got all the sweetness in the front, then the oak, then the spice, then in the finish, and then it goes back and you retaste all of those things over and over because it just coats your mouth so much. So at least to say, um, one of my favorites for 2022 was this one. I'm anxiously awaiting the 2023 LE to see how it comes out. I'm sure it will be a banger as well. I have to shout out my good buddy Kevin. Kevin, thank you for getting this bottle for me and muling it down to Arkansas for me. You hand delivering it. I would not be able to have it without you. So cheers, Kevin. Again, your mouth kind of acclimates after about 3 sips to that explosion of flavor, and it kind of evens out and gets a little bit more well-rounded the more air it gets into it. But when you taste this thing for the very first time, you're getting a flavor punch, and it is such a fun experience. Let's break down the scores and see how it came out. Now, this is one, like I said, that I really enjoyed. It reflects it in its scores. It scored very highly. Flavor score 90, experience score 86. The value scores where it kind of fell down a little bit, and then the total score of 87. Absolute recommend if you can find it. Do I plan to buy another one? I've already bought a backup of this one, so yes. I just want to say that, if you guys aren't checking out some of these craft distilleries, you're missing out on some really great whiskey. Find out about all of these brands that Nancy's involved in as well, because most likely everything that I've tasted from her, at least in my opinion, has been something that has been spot on, great whiskey, varying price points too. I mean, she's involved with whiskeys from the $30 all the way up to like these LEs that are 100 plus, cigar blend for 180, whatever. Some of them are worth the value, some of them aren't, in other whiskeys, but I can tell you in these particular whiskeys, for me, in my opinion, they are worth every penny that you're going to pay on it, because number one, you're supporting a local craft distillery. Number two, it's providing a great whiskey experience. They may be a little bit harder for you to search out, but I guarantee you it's probably going to be easier to find something like this than VTAC. And this has a great experience for you, man. I'm just for the value. This bottle was like 100 and I want to say it was 125, something like that. And I love it. The packaging is great. The bottle design is great. I mean, it's beautiful. I love these colors, the gold and black. They just do a really good job. I wish the only thing that they have larger distribution, but that's going to come. Again, guys, thanks for hanging out. Keep an eye out for J. Henry and Sons. Keep an eye out for these other whiskeys that Nancy's involved in: Wyoming Whiskey, Joseph Magnus Cigar Blend, Still Austin down in Texas. She's got her fingers in a lot of things, and the lady is a whiskey genius when it comes to blending something that is complex, well balanced, and provides you an experience that just really excites the palate of bourbon drinkers. So cheers to you guys. Thanks for hanging out with me, man. I really enjoy all of you hanging out and supporting us. I know Jeff and Darrell do as well. If you can hit that like and subscribe, that really helps the channel. Again, shout out to my buddy Kevin for getting me this bottle. And you guys, we'll see you next time back here on Hello Again, Whiskey Friends. Cheers.
Jeff, just be friends with me. But you have these whiskey friends, and you say hello again. Oh, Jeffrey, you should just be friends with me. But you have these whiskey friends, and you say hello again. Oh, Jeffrey, you should just be friends with me. But you have these whiskey friends, and you